like it. Obviously, doesn't look like they're going to go for a first pick there. Do not want to give up a bot lane like the Aphelios Thresh bottom lane.
And Aphelios is extreme comfort for FBI. Like this is kind of his champ. So taking that away, I do think makes a lot of sense. FBI and huhi, they are the best 2v2 bot lane in North America. Unfortunately for them, they're going up against probably the best 2v2 bot lane in the world. So that is tough. But you know, they will be excited to try to prove themselves here. This is a team that I think is largely overlooked in North America, has never really been considered one of those top teams as far as a title contender, as far as the team you thought was going to do it at Worlds. They did buck that trend, sweeping the finals, and they're trying to prove themselves here at Worlds.
Oh no. They're debating. The Lee Sin already walked in for Jiejie. Could go somewhere else technically, but expecting that in the jungle. And the long, slow debate, there it is.
There's the Yuumi. Are we going to get a Talon? Are we going to get a Xin Zhao? Are we going to get a Jarvan? Something like this? Some AD kind of bruiserish champion in the jungle? And yes, we are. Now, Jarvan, I think, should be a flex for 100 Thieves. I think Lee Sin into Jarvan. Lee Sin wins that matchup pretty hard in just an isolated 1v1, especially if you pair it with LeBlanc. The Jarvan is just going to lose more and more value the more kind of mobility EDG draft. So I expect that's some sort of flex, so we'll see what happens later on in the draft. Looks like they're hovering here for a LeBlanc.
Could absolutely go up towards Ssumday. This is a champion that he would be comfortable on, and Ssumday is very proficient on these more weak style champions. They rarely do play towards him, though he is a relatively strong laner. I do think if you are going to be putting J4 up to the top side and you're playing it blind, something like the Graves can punish that pretty heavily. This would be very difficult unless Closer wants to play a strong early ganking jungler and you can draft some sort of a 2v2 that you'd be willing to take that, but it's hard to think of a 2v2 that you'd be comfortable playing into Graves Lee Sin.
Yeah, the thing is with Jarvan is the two matchups he's good into are Kennen and Jace because they're mobile, you have good gank setup, and yes, you'll lose lane and get pushed in because of the range advantage, but against Graves, he has too much mobility. We saw Kana had 3 dashes, well, 2 of them went backwards, but still, there was a lot of dashes in the kit, so you can escape the ultimate pretty easily. But MF coming in to round out the comp of 100 Thieves.
Similar.
Player, and they do need some sort of AP in this comp, so I think we can expect last pick here for Abbedagge.
Yeah, I think you're completely right, and now EDG just rounding up their bot lane. A lot of AD bans taken off the board, you know, Lucian, Draven, Aphelios, Thresh taken away as well, but that's going to be a Kai'Sa Nautilus locked in. Now, it does have kill pressure in the 2v2 if the MF Yuumi missteps, and you can kind of gap close that, but obviously if you stay at range, MF Yuumi should be able to poke you out, but they have really strong early mid-jungle gank setup, and really good kind of bot pressure for 3v3 specifically.
And this is something we were talking about earlier. You have to be really on point with your all-ins in these kind of lanes, because if you're going up against a sustain lane like the Yuumi and you misstep in these trades, the sustain will pull them ahead in the lane. They can poke you down, chip you out. The Zoe here is the answer into Scout, and I do think that is going to be dangerous. Scout is monstrous on this LeBlanc. Paired up with Jiejie's Lee Sin, they can attack Abbedagge here for sure.
Yeah, and if you're looking at both comps holistically again, EDG's comp really good mid-jungle 2v2, should win out against 100 Thieves, really good gank setup again, and bot lane as well has good kill pressure. I think early game is the aim of the game for EDG, ironically, and 100 Thieves, I worry for their comp. They have really good team fight, they have good poke, and you know, if Aatrox gets a reset with Yuumi, of course he's going to be a monster through the healing, but the value of Jarvan drops off the later this game goes on, so I think he needs to do something early.
And I'm always terrified when I look towards a very imbalanced top lane matchup, and my jungle is also a losing jungle matchup, right? You know, it's very difficult, I think, for the Aatrox to be able to actually lane comfortably 1v1 against this Graves. If Jiejie gets ahead in the jungle, if Scout is ahead in the mid lane, they are going to be invading the top side. They're going to be denying Closer's options to turn around that top side, and then all of a sudden, 3/5 of your map is already done.
Incredibly high stakes, it feels like, in the early games. May have drafted themselves into a difficult position. Can they perform well enough to get themselves out of it? A big question on our mind. Edward Gaming versus 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves, the first NA representative to take to the stage here in the main group stage. Cloud9, of course, playing later in the day alongside Team Liquid, but have to see how they do. Of course, this matchup will define a lot of the expectations moving forward into groups. 100 Thieves take down EDG here, shakes up the entire group in an instant.
Oh yeah, definitely
double comment.
Look at mid lane, double ignite, double electrocute, right? So there's going to be a lot of early game action going on here. So if you look at 100 Thieves comp, just to finish it off here, if the game is even at 20 minutes, you're probably in a good state. Aatrox, Yuumi on 2 items will be able to take over team fights, of course, right? EDG have a lot of single target damage and not as much engage, but they have really good commit. Whereas, 100 Thieves with the team fight, I think Closer has 2 choices right now. Cover lanes, which are probably going to get pushed in, or look for some kind of early gank level 3, because bot lane's really your only pushing lane.
It's really interesting because you kind of have these 2 options, right? You can try to like bail out Ssumday in what is going to be a very difficult matchup, or you can hope that FBI and huhi with double Comet, with likely double Scorch, triple combat sums, can get an edge against Viper and Meiko, and then you go down there and you try to slam it home, and you try to play through bot lane and hope that Ssumday can hold on the top side.
And we know 100 Thieves are a mid to bot team, so that's probably what they're going to do here. We're going to see Closer start up towards the top side. And Jiejie will start top side as well, so he wants to match bot side. The 3v3 is in favor of EDG's. At level 4, I think it is in favor of them because the amount of kind of follow-up and CC that they have together and single target damage. 100 Thieves, just making sure they get the push closer. Again, similar to the T1 game, needs to find Jiejie.
I do agree. I think the only thing that can throw a wrench in the gears is if the 100 Thieves bot lane can already have Viper and Meiko poked low with the double Comet, with double Scorch, get them low prior to the 3v3. Because if they're starting at full health, you do not win that. And they are behind them. They're looking for an early start here.
They've got 3 combat summons. Viper already cleansing out. FBI now flashing out to safety. Huhi blocking what he can. Overall, pretty even early trade, all things considered, or would be if it was not for the immense amount of summoners already burned.
So the thing is, normally when you see bot lanes, all year long, what they do is they run bot level 1, they place a ward in that middle brush where EDG has the ward, just to cover for level 1 cheeses, in a sense, when you're playing ranged into melee. Right there, 100 Thieves didn't actually opt in to do it. They were late to lane, they got punished, so 3 combat summoner spells for 2.
Yeah, and I actually think it's so bad now for 100 Thieves. I actually think you don't win the 2v2 at all anymore. You can't play forward with no flash on MF, so they've basically already lost their only winning lane that they drafted for.
And the big difference here between what we saw in Game 1 and this exact same lane match, because FBI is forced to back away, is that EDG's bot lane did not have to leash. They were already in lane, they were already ready, they forced to fight early, and things already off to a much better start than it was for FPX with the exact same lane in Game 1.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a level 3 gank from Closer, because it's a very common pathing right now in pro play. It's Red, Raptors, Gromp. This is the fastest level 3 you can get in the game, and that's what Closer did, whereas Jiejie just full clearing down to bot. So Closer, after Wolves, will have a or after Blue, after Wolves, he has to decide when to come towards bot lane, and can he contest? Look at top and mid being pushed in by EDG, and they also have bot prio, which is very surprising.
Of course, for Closer, a player that we naturally have our eyes on simply because of how incredible he was in the playoffs for the side of 100 Thieves. This man was a massive force to be reckoned with, and on J4, regardless of the scaling, we know this champion can be a massive, massive force in the early game, can be a huge difference maker in terms of just raw gank setup. I
mean, Jarvan is a very feast or famine style champion, and Closer is kind of that type of player as well. You know, he likes to play aggressive, he likes to take risks, and when he gets ahead, he really knows how to expand that lead and make it into something special. But it's going to be difficult with all these pushing lanes and a 1v1 that he's not going to win here against Jiejie. Your options become very limited.
Yeah, look what Closer just did. He walked to bot side river, placed a ward on that kind of entrance there and to the left of blue buff, and now he's running towards the top side to clear his Krugs. Jiejie is going to get a double crab because, yeah, again, EDG, 3 pushing lanes, so powerful. Jiejie is actually going to be the one who has to find Closer, I think, with these pushing lanes, but EDG, like we talked about in draft, have a lot of mobility on the top side of the map. Lee Sin, LeBlanc, and Graves is so hard for Jarvan to kind of lock down.
Absolutely is. Bot wave at least going to get a push for a little bit here as FBI is going to be forced to back away. No mana means that staying in this lane would certainly be very difficult. Flandre on the top side, laying down a bit of vision as well. So EDG really in total control here. Jiejie not going to be able to find a gank into the mid lane. Good for Abbedagge that he does manage to set that vision up in time, but overall, pretty smooth early game for EDG so far. Jiejie, clever pathing.
Abbedagge doesn't know he's here. He ward jumped over the ward because he knew where the ward was. He went straight into the bush, so this could be a kill for EDG. Oh, Scout!
Forward. Chains goes wide. Flash away from the kick. Abbedagge just going to walk away from that one, but does have to use both of his summoners.
Yeah, it does use both of his summoners there, but the flash is off of Scout as well. So pretty well handled there by Abbedagge, and Scout just going wide on the chains. That would have been critical.
Yeah, that would have been a kill for EDG as well, because if Scout can flash E, he should be in range because of the gap close. Even if Abbedagge flashes away, the chain should connect, and Jiejie, despite not having W, should be able to flash Q. So small misplay there from Scout, and good to get out there for Abbedagge. And it looks like Jiejie is going to base. Closer has also base, and he's on his second respawn Gromp, so both junglers on the opposite side of the map. Closer, obviously one temp down.
Ssumday laying a good bit of poke down, punishing Flandre for trying to step forward and get some autos in on this tower, but in general, Graves able to sustain the push pretty easily so far. Yeah. Maybe things get a bit better around level 6 or one item, but for now, Flandre making use of those. Graves is generally powerful kit.
There's always the chance of turning something around on the top side. You know, Aatrox, if you hit enough Qs, there's always something going on. But, you know, generally speaking, it's pretty easy for Graves to just permanently push you in, and you are pretty reliant on your jungler getting out there to try to bail you out. Unless Flandre really missteps and starts taking tower shots and these types of things, it's going to be difficult, I think, for Ssumday to actually get on him and threaten any sort of a kill.
Yeah, and like we talked about from the draft, EDG kind of needs to look for something in the early stage of the game. First 15 to 20 minutes, they need to find some kind of play. For now, not much has happened just yet. 100 Thieves' summoners have come back up, so have EDG, so they've weathered the storm in bot, and both top laners have TP back to lane, so EDG getting Abbedagge's flash is big. Maybe if they can get Meiko out of lane, they can start to punish that. And
I think, you know, both teams now are going to try to focus where their strengths are. You know, for the first time in the game, really, 100 Thieves can play a bit more aggressive on that bottom side because FBI has his flash, so EDG can't just find a free all-in. They can try to push a bit more aggressively, try to poke out their opponents, see if they can set something else up. We can see closers hanging around on that bot side, and they have vision of Flandre, who popped that vision plant up on the top side, so they know where he is.
Yeah, and we talked about both these teams being bot-centric teams. You can see that both junglers just constantly hovering down towards bot side. Flandre is actually doing a lot for the team right now. You know, the deep wards on top side, it's process of elimination. If Closer is not showing top side, he's obviously down towards the bot side. So EDG have more information to work with, but they don't know for certain where Closer is until he steps over that ward on the red buff.
Ssumday using that brief window of opportunity to move down to contest some of that vision, to try to make sure that they can hide as much of that information as possible, but of course tracking the Jarvan in the early game when we expect him to be the most impactful. Again, Feast or Famine champion is a big deal. Level 6 of course going to make a lot of those options easier, but it has been a difficult early game. While it's been a calm laning phase, EDG building a slow but steady gold lead, and really the impact of Closer not felt yet.
Look at Viper as well. Abbedagge has no flash. He knows that pink ward is too dangerous to take because bot's missing, and he's going to back off. But getting Meiko mid is what they need to do. Abbedagge has no flash. That's the only point that they can pressure. And Abbedagge knows something's up. He's going to jump over the wall and say, hello.
That's smart. I mean, they've seen that Nautilus is missing for so long. They don't have eyes on Jiejie. He's got to know that he is under threat. And 100 Thieves, to their credit, have played smart around missing summoners. The bot lane, they could not push in the 2v2. They accepted that they messed up. They accepted that Viper and Meiko got that advantage, got the flash off. And now Abbedagge is going to clear it out because they see the two members bot and the cat roams up to help him out.
That's the only thing that 100 Thieves are struggling with right now. Look at their pinks on the top side of the map. They're both defensive pinks. Look at the bot side of the map. Defensive pinks, whereas EDG were controlling the river. So 100 Thieves, with these bouncing bot waves, which are slow pushing into EDG, can start to contest a little bit of vision. Maybe they have a dragon window here, with Jiejie being on the top side and them having cleared out bot side vision. But for now, the game is in a lull state. I mean, 8 minutes is the aim of the game for both teams when it comes to Herald. So maybe we'll see Meiko move towards the top side soon.
And EDG in general, again, of the teams out of the LPL, much slower, much akin to maybe what you expect from an LCK team. We'll hold that thought. It's big damage. Meiko flashing out, just barely able to survive on that one. Hooked to the wall, instant flash to safety, but now FBI and huhi pressuring forward, looking to take down a few tower plates.
Yeah, very nice aggressive play. They're going to get a lot of gold here. When you have the push here with a spell thief support, you get the farm gold off the tower, cash in on a turret plate there. They are up in that bottom lane, so nicely done after what was a rough start, but it is just a very slight lead, and it's more than made up for by the top side of the map here for EDG.
Yeah, but look at Meiko again. Yes, 100 Thieves are winning on the bot side, and that was a great force, but the thing is, Meiko can base first because they're pushing out the next bot wave, so he's going to run top side and meet up with his jungler, and maybe they want to force this Herald because 100 Thieves, yes, they're winning lane, and they got a plate in their head in CS, but their bot lane is a little bit behind in time, and now Jiejie's cleared his bot camps out, Flandre has the top push. This could be a Herald start for EDG.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if 100 Thieves actually try to match, or if they're just going to go back towards bot side. I wouldn't have been shocked if they just actually stayed bot and continued to try to push for plates. You know, that's a pretty common trade that we see in NA a lot. Teams are less likely to actually contest this trade if they're later on the reset. In this case, they did elect to reset, but it is going to be a free Herald here for EDG, and they just wanted to get the buy instead. Yeah,
and then the biggest question is, what can 100 Thieves get on the opposite side of the map?
Nothing.
Closer. He's running through the lane with 100 Thieves' bot lane, and again, Meiko is moving towards bot side, but Jiejie's top side. There's no TPs in the game, so you could look for a force on bot side. Meiko has no flash. With a Jarvan on your team, that's the only target you can knock down, so that's ideal for 100 Thieves. Maybe they can find a lane gank here.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get a kill, then they could look towards Dragon. I think that there's definitely an option there. But Ssumday's going to be up in trouble on this top side. You know, he does not have his jungler on this side of the map. Scout is missing. They're going to move up here. This is going to be first tower for EDG, pretty much guaranteed. Nothing for Ssumday to do except just back off and accept it.
Bot dive, maybe. Closer is hovering around. I don't think they've spotted him out just yet, so he's looking for it.
Level 7 now coming in for Viper. Alongside the cleanse and the flash up and available. It will be difficult to lock him down. Meiko very vulnerable, especially if he's not able to proc the aftershock. That said, top lane tower going to fall. 700 gold lead. Now 1,800 in favor. 2K actually in favor of EDG. Flag a drag forward. That's going to be the Yuumi ult now coming in. They're really trying to burn this target down, but in the meantime, it looks like Viper's going to try to finish the kill. One more auto's going to do it, and now it's huhi all on his lonesome. Viper not going to overcommit, but just a 1-for-1 on the bottom side.
That felt like they just were feeling a little bit of pressure. A little bit of pressure to get something done. They know that they're losing the tower on the top side. They know that they haven't got any ganks down. And it's not really a good trade. It's a kill on the Yuumi, you know, on the enemy support for giving Viper here a kill on your jungler. They are trying to push him off. They are trying to continue farm plates. And FBI getting a lot of damage down there means they may be able to get this final play, but I don't know if they're going to be able to finish it off or not.
Yeah, I think it was going to be a stare down there. EDG had two options: drop the bot tower and kind of give the plates over to 100 Thieves, or just flip the 3v2 and start to let them dive them. You know, come on guys, let's just dive us, see what happens. Maybe trade 1-for-1, 2-for-2 at best, but in this case they trade 1-for-1. But 100 Thieves get what they came for. They got a lot of tower plates, and I think during this replay they will be able to take it. But like you said, Azale, I think this is just a little bit of desperation from Closer. He knows he needs to do something. He's already done his job. They're out of lane. They're pushed out. That's a free tower. Maybe just hit the tower and take it and trade. But it kind of goes for a bit deep. Exactly.
I think that if you wanted to make this play, you had to dive them under tower where the MF ult can back you up on that ultimate. You know, J4 ultimate comes through, MF ult across, the Nautilus dies fast enough that maybe you can get out. But they just, I think, are feeling a little bit of pressure there. Closer has not been able to get anything done. He knows that he's behind in farm. He knows that there's plays happening on that top side.
Chains have now landed. Abbedagge going to move out. Well played, but still a ton of damage coming in from Scout and Flandre. Closer now going to try to follow up, trying to get a little bit of the damage back. But Jiejie in the area means he cannot fully commit.
And that's the power of having your top laner unlocked. You take top tower, he can move towards mid, and when he moves mid, look at the damage Flandre has on this top lane Graves. Abbedagge played it well to portal jump the chain to make it disconnect and break, but by the time he came back, he was one-popped.
Yeah, it just got knocked down so incredibly fast, and it is a difficult situation for Ssumday. He's playing it smart, meeting Flandre in the river to try to prevent him from getting to that wave, but he's got to get this wave reset. Closer is up there to try to give him a little bit of safety, but I mean, when you lose that tier 1 and you don't have a lot of wards, it's very scary pushing out these waves.
Oh, Jiejie for FBI, but he wasn't quick enough, and that means he's just instantly taken down.
Oh, that was clean. FBI had flash, but Jiejie, lots of gap close, Qs the creep, ward jump, and then kick flashes. FBI wasn't ready for that one.
Not at all. And now Viper going to be able to cash in here, getting some more plates, getting some more gold. He is getting very close to his mythic completion. Things looking better and better for EDG.
And this is not the same explosive game that we saw from T1 versus DFM. This is a slow, steady building of a lead from the side of EDG. 3-1 now in kills, able to get the top tower. Sadly for 100 Thieves, the one side of the map where they have been able to make plays, the bottom side of the map still just barely not able to finish that tower. And EDG, 2.5k gold lead, getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the gold deficit that Viper had to FBI from the tower plate itself just kind of recovered itself now with that kill. He has the Kraken Slayer, FBI has the Yomus. I think 100 Thieves' next objective is very clear. Just get this bot tower and get bot lane out of lane fast so they can start playing the map a bit more, because they're one step behind EDG right now. Flandre is constantly unlocked, but FBI and huhi are not.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can find any sort of plays to punish some of these missing flashes here from EDG. Try to get a bit aggressive here, utilize that Jarvan ult. gets something done, but Meiko comes down, and they don't really have the confidence until Closer moves up behind them, and he is going to be spotted by this ward.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for their 2v3 as well. If Jiejie collapses and Flandre has TP, it might be a bit dangerous, so Closer's going to back off for now. Both top laners have TP to join if it's going to be a 4v4, but Scout should be first to move. Jiejie just making sure that Abbedagge has no vision to work with to keep him under tower the whole game long.
Trouble Bubble connects, but Abbedagge really not in a position to follow up. Tower plating about to fall away anyway, so it looks like EDG just opt to back off, knowing that that tower is not quite the safe haven they would need it to be. So 100 Thieves able to get back at least a little bit of gold. That said, EDG moving into enemy territory, laying down a little bit more vision, trying to deny some of the clean pathing from Closer between lanes.
And I'm interested to see if either of these teams are going to start up this first dragon here pretty soon. Looking for the chains, won't connect.
Back, Randuin's in the area. Ssumday waiting over the wall. Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Abbedagge is going to need to get out of there quickly, but he just does not have the flash. And now it's going to be Ssumday who's in trouble, knocked up. And now on the backside, it's the bullet time, but it's not connecting on anybody. Closer in the meantime, they're trying to lock down Meiko. They're trying to click down the squishiest member. Closer, he's out of cooldowns. He tries to heal back up with the Gore Drinker, not nearly enough. Ssumday now has to run for the hills. EDG confidently taking this skirmish.
Yeah, FBI's ultimate was a little bit disconnected from the rest of the team because Closer and huhi commit on one side, and FBI's ultimate was just kind of to zone away the rest of EDG. I mean, EDG have so much single target damage, so when Abbedagge is alone and Closer goes too deep and he's alone, they have so much burst.
Yeah, they're so reliant on that MF ult at this point in the game to actually have enough damage to knock these members down. Not going to be able to do it. EDG kites them back, collapses in, knocks down multiple members. They're going to be able to grab the dragon off the back of this too.
Yeah, and Abbedagge, I think he thought he was safe because Ssumday was right next to him when he was trying to push in this mid wave. He just took a pink, he thought he was safe, crashed the wave and then moved topside, but no, has no flash. Jiejie makes sure the play happens. And yes, 100 Thieves bot lane's on the way, but it feels like FBI is just a little bit disconnected from the rest of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate coming down here got almost nothing done. Scout just distorts out of it. Viper is already pretty much out of range of it. And you don't have your mid laner, so you are so heavily relying on this MF. Because Ssumday has been put down, your mid laner is dead, the MF had to get it done, and the ultimate just wasn't it.
Yeah, and I think 100 Thieves' comp relies a lot on setup. You know, if you have vision control and the enemy team is walking into you, Zoe can play however she wants, Yuumi can sit on the Aatrox and try to engage on the backline if they walk up too far because Kai'Sa's short range. But if you're just kind of fighting in mid, the amount of mobility EDG's comp has, they can just dip, dodge, dive around you.
And the thing is, if Closer burns his combo and somebody isn't dead, FBI needs to be there to follow up. Abbedagge needs to be there to follow up. After that, that's always gotten the tank. Ssumday needs time. He needs to not only land the perfect Qs, but he needs to land a few of them if he really wants to shred through these squishier members, because it's just unlikely that he's going to have access to highly mobile members like Scout, like Viper, without some kind of crazy flank or perfect setup.
Absolutely. I mean, he's put in a losing matchup. He is going to be down on gold as a result. He's not strong enough to really get it done on his own. So they do need that setup, as you're talking about. You know, allow Zoe to poke members out before you go for the hard engage. Be able to get that good MF ultimate where you have someone locked into that J4 ult.
You have to feel for Abbedagge. He's 0-2-0 right now on the Zoe, but he's really not had that much to work with. Jiejie's been hovering around mid constantly. Flandre came to his lane, and Meiko's been constantly roaming up there. And 100 Thieves' draft doesn't really allow them to match too much. So they're going to lose this mid tower from the second Herald.
Arrow charging now coming in. Ssumday waiting over the wall, but not really a lot to commit for there. They're just going to grab what little gold they can from killing the Herald, clear the wave as well. 100 Thieves, hard to know what the next best option is for them. They catch someone out here. Meiko potentially overextended could be a small advantage.
No flash.
Now he's going to commit. Is he going to go for the Hex Flash over the wall? Already started the channel. Oh, we love to see it.
Do you? Do you?
As someone who always gets hit before I start that channel, yeah, I like to see it work.
Yeah, that was slick from Meiko. It's going to be able to scoot out of there, no problem.
Yeah, Closer loses the ultimate as well, so now 100 Thieves lost a lot of engage tools, so they're going to back off, and EDG's next objective is going to be that bot tier 1 or play towards topside to help Scout get this top tier 2.
Yeah, and when Scout gets out into the side lanes, into the jungle, denying vision, he is terrifying on this LeBlanc. He is such a good playmaker, so adept at finding picks, at taxing resources, denying enemy vision. And you can see he's playing with that sweeper, wants to be able to create these pockets of darkness that 100 Thieves are just terrified to go into.
Doggy waiting over the wall. Maybe hoping to catch a Viper here. Big initial damage can come in. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will not connect. Meiko can now walk up the tank and just barely skirting the edge there, but now the knocker comes in from Closer. Big bullet time to connect on the Meiko. Meiko gonna take it down with Scout over the wall and right back out. TP into the back line. Flandre now stepping forward. Smokescreen. Waiting on that one. Flandre now backing off. Takes a lot of damage just to TP forward. Scout using the clone to body block to make sure no one else gets caught out by the poke. And EDG potentially overcommitting there in the jungle.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1, but you can see the difference of 100 Thieves' comp when it's just a straight-up defense over vision. They have vision first. They see EDG first. They're the ones to pull the trigger first. And FBI had a much better position there with the bullet time. So yeah, much better setup there from 100 Thieves. It gets them a kill, but in the end, it is a 1-for-1.
Just the 1-for-1. There was no J4 ultimate. Could have looked a little bit better potentially if he had that.
Yep.
I think Closer is behind enough that I wonder if it's just better to go pure tank from here instead of even go Sterix. You know, just whatever you can to survive. Buy an early stopwatch. Try to be as durable as possible. I don't think he's going to be any sort of a damage threat at this point in the game, and it's feeling like every time he goes in, it's a one-way trip. They had the bubble come down, doesn't quite connect, but they see the angle here as Meiko is trying to skirt around the sleeve.
Yeah, but the bubble itself made it so it's so hard to, yeah, exactly like I said, get away from it. So Meiko with no flash dies, and TP comes in from Flandre. Closer dies from overcommitting as well, and Flandre could have not TP'd there. He could have opted into a free bot tier 1, which he was pushing in, take the tower and just push out, but he wanted to help his team, make sure they got out, and that'll be the end of that. So 100 Thieves do have TP advantage. If Ssumday goes to a side lane and Flandre is matching on bot, they can make a 5v4 happen topside.
And you can see Scout, 6 stacks on the Magi is getting stronger and stronger, and I think one of the big struggles here is that the LeBlanc and the Zoe want very similar things. You break down that mid-tier 1, you free up some of this vision, you get to play in Fog of War, and you're living free. You're living easy. Abbedagge does not get to live free. He does not get to live easy. He has to fight for that setup every time, where it's very easy for Scout to roam in the Fog of War, to jump in and poke a few members out or try to 100 to 0 someone very quickly. So 100 Thieves forced to group up here, forced to play a little bit more together as Scout and the rest of EDG now staying together around this dragon. 23 seconds till the objective spawn.
And it feels like they're posturing to try to contest this dragon, but I mean, with this deficit, if you fight the dragon and lose as 100 Thieves, that's the game. So they really have to be sure that they are going to have good positioning. Otherwise, I don't think you should approach this at all. I think you should just be trading for bot push, top push, you know, try to shove in the waves, try to threaten some towers, because if you walk in without vision, you're not going to win this fight against EDG.
Yeah, we know 100 Thieves love to contest Drakes, and so do EDG, so I think they're just going to stick around. Somebody's going on to Meiko.
They're stepping in. Some initial damage now coming out. You got the Yuumi strapped up there as well. Oh, Ssumday now has to retreat. Abbedagge stepping forward, but EDG just weathering the storm and walking away. Very difficult now for 100 Thieves because Scout's level 13 and FBI is level 10. A few more spells connect there, and absolutely the MF would be dead. And Viper just going to take this one alongside Jiejie uncontested.
I mean, one of the things that you'll notice a lot when you watch EDG in the LPL, and they did it here too, is they like to play teamfights with this kind of, you know, concave. They go into this kind of half semicircle, basically, where they're kiting back, they're all pulling back in different directions so that you can't get an engage on multiple members at the same time. You know, they all pull back, and as you choose one side to attack, the other members then close back in and start hitting you from the other side. And that was kind of a perfect example of that. You know, Viper, Scout pulling back as you're engaging in on one side, the others start to collapse and attack.
Yeah, like I said, we saw it right there, and 100 Thieves had one opportunity to kind of find their way into Dragon Pit. They had no vision, they thought they found a pick onto Meiko. They commit 3 ultimates to do so, but the second he hooks away, that's it. It's lights out, you can't contest that. Just go to the opposite side of the map and drop the Drake. It's only the second dragon though, and it's going to be a Cloud Soul, so not the end of the world for 100 Thieves, but they will need to contest the Soul Point, but that's around 9 to 10 minutes away.
Scout now stepping in. Dipping, ducking, diving. Abbedagge laying down a little bit of damage. Ignite's being traded back and forth, leaping in. Stolen Ignite as well, but Scout make it out from that one. Ignite ticking and burning, but the melee minion will not be able to finish the job. Scout taking the 1v1.
That was a lot closer than I thought it would be, but Scout, I think there he flashed W'd on top of Abbe, so he couldn't flash away. If Abbedagge got the portal jump back and flashed Scout's distortion forward, then he probably would have lived and won the 1v1, but Scout just flashed W's instantly the second he lands and stops the buffer from happening.
Though, now committing in the mid lane, Viper. He's just going to walk away from that one. 100 Thieves feels like a little bit grasping at straws here, just trying to find anything on the map whatsoever as they are almost 6,000 gold down. We take a look back at this 1v1 from Scout's perspective.
Yeah, you can see Abbedagge has a heal. Scout dodges away from the bubble, the Ignites come out, but then it means Abbedagge can pick up the Ignite. Here we see it now, flash forwards and W the second he portal jumps forwards to stop him from being able to flash away. There's a little bit of mind games going on there in the 1v1, but it was very well played by both of them.
Yeah, it was actually incredibly close. You know, I thought when we panned over to that Scout was just going to dominate it, but Abbedagge making it very, very tight there. We'll see if they can get anything from this. With Magi's on Scout, it gets even more important to try to shut down this LeBlanc, who is really kind of getting away with this game.
Stepping in, Jiejie just going to back away. FBI, of course, now level 11 finally means the second rank in the ultimate, that much more effective in any potential fights to come. But with Flandre at level 14, Scout at level 14, it is going to be difficult for the MF.
Now what we're going to see is the Baron setup. Hang on, Jiejie. He's looking at Abbedagge. Bubble connects, but he should be fine with the Blast Code.
Okay. Good damage onto the Lee Sin, now chunked out.
So what the EDG are doing now is Flandre pushes out bot and then he moves mid, so that means they have a numbers advantage. Now if Ssumday doesn't catch bot wave, then they can leave the wave to die, so they're winning out in gold. Otherwise, they can start to force on the top side of the map, and that's how you get the Baron setup. You push in bot and move mid, you push in mid and move top. The enemy team responds to waves, or they respond to you, and that's how you decide what to do next.
Seeing it now, 100 Thieves fishing for something in EDG. Again, a team that plays more controlled, not trying to blow the game wide open, not trying to over-commit. EDG, you can see the LPL average pretty much on the dot. They are not the most aggressive team. They're not the least aggressive team, but they play a more controlled style, and when they build these gold leads, very willing to just slowly bleed a team out rather than blow it all up on a single team fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their team fighting is incredible. They love to play through these objectives. You can expect them to show up for every single one of these dragons, and the pressure is going to be on 100 Thieves to disrupt that game plan, because EDG is happy to play at this pace. They don't feel as though they are under pressure whatsoever. They're just slowly encroaching into the 100 Thieves jungle, trying to get vision control. We can see the 100 Thieves is trying to contest this. They have lots of defensive banks here, trying to make sure that they have this little line of defense that they can push out from to eliminate wards, to keep eyes on the Baron. But every time you check in there, it does get dangerous, and Flandre is winning in one side, Scout is winning in the other. You're losing both side lanes, and EDG is ahead at the objectives.
You can see Flandre moving towards mid, and that means they always have mid push. So EDG just need to find a window. Hang on, Closer's going in.
Fully committing now, going to leap onto Viper. Viper immediately going to all back up to safety. FBI is ulted nothing. Meiko, though, could still potentially be in trouble. FBI for another round of cooldowns. Where's the double up? Where's it going to go? Meiko taking a lot of damage here. Closer goes back in with another EQ, but he does get taken down. 1-for-1 so far in the exchange. EDG again backing off. Seeing they've got Flandre on the bottom side, they don't need to force anything.
Exactly. They're winning out here already because Flandre is pushing in the minions, taking down the tower, denying experience. 100 Thieves are trying to force to get something.
It's a deja vu again, isn't it? You can see EDG walking into 100 Thieves' vision, similar to the red buff area. It's a 1-for-1, but this time the difference is Flandre doesn't TP and respond to Ssumday. He just keeps pushing, gets the bot tier 2, so they're always winning out on any side of the map because of these pushing lanes. It was a good try by 100 Thieves. The problem is Viper still has both summoners, because when Closer commits the ultimate, he just uses the killer instinct straight out.
Exactly. You hit him with the Cataclysm, the immediate ult back. He's out of range of FBI's ulti there. So they try to commit forward. You can see Ssumday's battling JJ on the bottom of your screen. They weren't aware that Scout was here, though, and Scout over the wall, knocking down Closer there, and back to live. Huhi's in trouble.
Oh, the kitty cat!
Season 3 flashbacks, like Faker one-shot and supports all over again. Here we go. Scout. Easy pickup.
Need to sit on someone.
This is not the previous game. You really need to be mounted up here, or the LeBlanc is going to one-shot you.
Look at Flandre just completed his IE now. He is ridiculously fed. He's a good 40 CS ahead of 10 CS per minute, and that's always concerning when you're looking. You're like, wow, Ssumday's down 60 CS, but he almost has 10 CS per minute himself.
Takes the dragon as well. Now he's moving topside. 100 Thieves fancy something here, but Huhi's dead. It's a 4v5. Flandre is matching. And EDG don't really find anything from the pick itself, just a dragon on the bot side.
Trouble goes in, zones Flandre away from the fight for a brief moment. Meiko could be the one who's in trouble. They're now fully committing onto the Nautilus. Ulti and knockups now coming in. Jiejie gonna land the kick, but they're waiting on the engage now. Abbedagge immediately taken out and off to the side. FBI completely isolated, but Closer trying to save the day. FBI not gonna get hit for the kick. Maybe they can get something done. Huhi now coming in. Ssumday goes golden, buys a brief moment, but there's just too many members standing of EDG. Run, Huhi, run! There's nothing here for you. But maybe there is. Huhi, the turn, the 1v1 we've been waiting for. Not enough. JJ with the quadra kill.
Massive plays from EDG. Huge team fight kicks off, and Huhi arrives a little bit too late, just gives over a quadra to JJ. Viper lives through that whole fight despite being in the middle of everyone from 100 Thieves. And that fight kicked off in such a funny way because Flandre and JJ were debating running through the bubble. When one found the path, the other decided to follow.
And so much of it about just Scout and how he's positioning himself, getting behind 100 Thieves. So as they engage forward, their backline is exposed. He lights them up. EDG have blown this game apart. 100 Thieves were trying to hang on for the last 20 minutes. And this feels like that nail in the coffin here, getting the Baron, getting the ace, and really EDG is just monumentally ahead now.
Yeah, Scout building towards the Rabadon's death gap. 100 Thieves have just been trying to juggle these losing lanes and trying to find some picks in their own vision. But once your own vision is broken, the whole map starts to fall apart. You can see it there. 5 kills straight across to EDG. They lose towers, they lose Baron, and now EDG can get the setup already back on the map.
Viper now setting up again alongside Meiko. Excited to look back at that in the new Axe Effect replay.
Look at the bubble. Look at Flandre and JJ. They're standing like, can I pass that? I'm not too sure. JJ goes, and then Flandre's like, okay, I'll follow. And then the second they engage, Viper dives in.
Yeah, I mean, Scout and Viper just into the back line. Really fast flash actually there from Abbedagge, but the ulti distortion closes the gap. Viper has ulted in as well. The immediate kill on Abbedagge really eliminated any chance they had in there. And you can see on live, TPing in, looking to knock down the inhibs here.
Yeah. That was a Mayweather versus Paul moment right there. You know what I'm saying? That was a rough one.
Oh, 100 Thieves.
One of those champions not meant to fight. Now going forward, closer though, fully committed for the fight here. Ssumday healing up a lot in the midst of the action. Has a Yuumi strapped to his back. Maybe he can get something back. So far, it's just Meiko, but Flandre is just too beefy. Jiejie now dominating EDG, cleaning house here as they move down the mid lane. 100 Thieves slowly but surely bled out of that game. One explosive quadra kill for Lee Sin, and it ends just like that. 28 minutes in, EDG will find their first win of Worlds 2021.
EDG dominant first game here, looking good. Coming into the group stage. Really impressive performance here, I have to say, really from the entire top side. I think that Scout was amazing on the LeBlanc, is so consistent on this, and we are seeing back-to-back games, really a number of games we've seen throughout Worlds. Graves top is not to be messed with. You've got to have some sort of a plan to actually deal with this, or your top laner is just going to be locked under their tower the entire game, and that limits the options of your jungler. And that's really my biggest problem here with what 100 Thieves brought out, is you put Closer in a losing matchup, you put him with a losing top side, and didn't really give the aggressive playmaker on 100 Thieves any options to try to make something happen.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Jarvan was just nullified the longer the game went on. Maybe if you found something level 3, there was hope in a sense, but like Azael said, the top side fell apart. The Graves has too much mobility, pushes the lane, and scales so well. So EDG, with that single target damage comp, just found ways into every fight.
And so often when people say, oh, just blame the draft, I think it's an oversimplification. But I think in this case, 100 Thieves made the game so incredibly difficult for themselves. Yes, their bot side was strong. Yes, all things considered, despite EDG's strong level 1, they played pretty well in the early game, but the top side of the map just did not feel equipped to fight what EDG brought to the table.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're playing a team of this caliber, right? EDG is such an incredible team. They're one of the favorites to actually win the entire tournament. You have got to put yourself in the best possible situation. And I want to give credit to EDG's bot lane for how they actually played the level 1. I think that completely changed the game, because 100 Thieves went into this probably knowing that they're going to be pushed in topside, but they were expecting to have the push in the 2v2 on bot. With this hiding in the brush strategy basically at level 1, they force FBI's flash. He can no longer push, and that gave them 3 winning lanes, so nowhere to play for the Jarvan.
Yeah, they definitely should have ran bot level 1 and contested the ward. Maybe even 5v5 for that bush, because that gives them